Chelsea Football Club have put Reece James up for sale and Real Madrid are sniffing around. Well, there are conflicting reports. I've got them both. Furthermore, Josh Acheampong, whose contract is expected to end not this summer, but next summer, is back in first team training because there's been progress with his contract and we've got the details behind that. Furthermore, a former Cobham graduate who has left and become very good for England and his club could be set for a return next summer for free. Yes, for free. He almost left for £80 million. I've got the full story there. We can talk about it and it's coming from a reputable source. And finally, I need you lot to pay your rent, man. It's the easiest thing to do. Hit that like button. We're aiming for 1,000. Number 2, subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to help us grow. We're aiming for 40,000 before the end of the year. And finally, in the comments below, I know it's a difficult question, but let me know. Reece James, are you selling him or not? Let's get started. I don't think I know a Chelsea fan that doesn't love Reece James. Reece James, from the moment he broke through at Chelsea Football Club, when he took Azpilicueta's spot, he was somebody fans loved. Normally, Cobham players are polarizing. Some people adore him, some people don't. With Reece James, there's just been consistent love. Why? Because he's absolutely amazing, right? He's great on the ball, he's great off the ball. He's special when, in terms of leadership, in the way that he acts rather than speaking out loud. He's someone that leads by example rather than leads by vocal leadership. For example, John Terry did both. Reece James is fantastic. He's like Eden Hazard. He's a leader, by the way. Look what I do what I do. It's very simple, right? However, what's happened is injuries have really taken over his career. Reece James's career has really deteriorated in front of our eyes, and I don't think I'm being extreme when I say that. He's been playing for 25% of the games for like 2-3 seasons now. He's getting paid a heck of a lot of money. That's triggering a lot of people. It ain't my money. I don't know why people care so much. However, and this is where it gets very interesting, Reece James now has been put on the transfer sale, according to Graham Bailey. Number one, I do not believe Graham Bailey's sources because he's been proven wrong on so many different occasions. Yet, he's still employed as a journalist. So good on him. Clearly, some people believe his stories. But whenever he comes out with stories, for me, it's the fact that it's not real. And it's really sad to say it and put it this way. But for me, I don't believe the stories that he writes. It's nothing personal. It's just the fact of the matter. Ben Jacobs has come out and debunked this. He said Reece James is not for sale. Reece James is not for sale under no circumstances. And we're going to find out more news on his scans in the coming weeks. But one thing I have to do is, whilst we don't believe he's for sale at the moment, if things don't change going forward, Reece James might be for sale. And this is a harsh reality that Chelsea fans have to prepare themselves for. Because how long can you keep paying somebody that much money and expecting them to only play 25% of the game? Personally, I think he's so good, I'll be patient. I've explained my thought process on this before, I'll do it once more. Reece James is so talented that the idea of losing him for 30 or 40 million pounds, because this is what somebody would pay for it, is stupid. We can't let a player of that magnitude, of that talent, leave our club. However, if someone offers 80, 90 million, I would understand if Blueco accepted because he doesn't play, but they're not going to. So I don't want him to go for 30, 40 million somewhere else. Absolutely develop it and his body becomes immune to these injuries and then he starts playing on a consistent basis and we start going, what did we do? Why did we sell him? Why on earth did we sell him? I'm not doing it. So now we need to move on to the future of his position. Apparently, Josh Acheampong, we've got progress. So Josh Acheampong's situation at Chelsea is very interesting. Josh Acheampong at this moment in time is a player that's come through the youth academy. He's had a few appearances at first team level and there is a lot of hype around him to the point that there are 5 clubs interested in him according to Felix Johnston. So, number 1, Liverpool, Dortmund, Bayern Munich, PSG and Real Madrid. Those 5 are the ones that are really interested in him, and it doesn't surprise me. I always say, when a player's being linked away from your club, look at the caliber clubs that won him. 9 out of 10 times, that's a great indicator of how good of a talent this guy is. When Mason Mount was leaving, Man United wanted him, and they were willing to put a crazy level of money for him. However, Man United aren't creme de la creme these days, so make of it what you want. However, Felix Johnston is very reliable when it comes to Chelsea youth. I don't know who he knows on the inside, but whenever it comes to contract disputes, pathways and levels of these players, he's actually on the ball. So, what am I going to do? Number 1, I'm going to tell you what he said regarding the players' contract developments. He said there's been made progress. He said there has been progress between the players' camp and his camp. Initially, one of the stumbling blocks was Chelsea had a pathway plan where Josh would go on loan to Strasbourg. However, the player was against this and was not interested in making that move. That stumbling block is now being resolved. Firstly, I don't understand how that's a stumbling block. Reece James went on loan, smashed it, came back, is a starter. Levi Colwell went on loan twice, smashed it, came back, and is a starter. Andre Santos has gone on loan now to Strasbourg, smashing it, should be coming back and reintegrating himself into the first team. You need to understand, players that make it through Cobham aren't going to be straight away ready for the Chelsea first team. If they are, there's a problem. It means the team's not performing well enough. For a team like Chelsea, we should be competing for minimum top 4 every year, and we should be winning the league once every 5 years. That's just my personal opinion. Maybe twice every 5 years if we're excelling expectations. For that to happen, you can't have too many Cobham graduates coming through because it means your first team isn't up to par. Otherwise, Cobham's just producing stupid talents, like levels of talents that at the infancy of their career are already breaking through into the first team. That doesn't make sense. Players tend to become regular starters when they've got years of experience under their belt, right? So if we're giving them starts now to gain this experience at Chelsea, they're going to make their mistakes and it's going to cost us points. It's going to cost us success. So a loan to Strasbourg makes sense to me. The only problem there could be they signed Doué, which is the brother, I think, of Desiree Doué at PSG, and he's a right back / centre back who would be playing in that position. So that's a little bit of a hiccup. And then he went on now and said, there is active interest from PSG, who are the biggest interested suitors for him at this moment in time. The interest is very real. The player is not as open about going there. Real Madrid, Dortmund, Liverpool, who are keen because Alexander-Arnold's going to be moving on potentially. And finally, Bayern Munich. And Bayern Munich are ready to give him immediate first team minutes, which for me is a little bit of nonsense. I don't buy it. Why would Bayern Munich, who have Joshua Kimmich in that position, do this? It just isn't adding up. However, I believe Felix is reporting, because the very next day, Felix gets absolutely like a good high five, a good stamp of he knew what he was talking about, because Josh Acheampong is back in first team training. What does this tell me? It means there's been a breakthrough. It means in the conversations that they had within the club, all of a sudden, a player that looked like he was on his way out is back in. And it won't surprise me if he's either starting, because the Sassy weren't out in training, neither was Gusto, and neither was Reece James, meaning we need a right back. There were so many young players out there for the Heidenheim game. I'm not going to preview the Heidenheim game. I'm telling you that for free right now, because there is no point of previewing a game where, in my opinion, at the moment, there is nothing to talk about, right? What am I going to say? We're going away to Heidenheim in the Conference League. I've never seen Heidenheim play. This is my first time going to be watching Heidenheim. I'll give you the post-match reaction where we talk about the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe with the bell notification so you know you don't miss that after the game. However, there's no point previewing it. All I'll tell you is Carney Chukwuemeka was in training, Muheka was in training, Sam Raksaki, Keona Dyer, Tyreek George, Cesar Cassidy, and Scrudge alongside Josh Acheampong. Nearly called him Josh McEachran. That's a throwback to the past. Tell me in the comments below, do you remember Josh McEachran? But all in all, this is good news regarding Josh Acheampong, and it's something that we should be excited for, because like I've said in the past, good talent, however, not the greatest talent of all time that we can't recover from if he leaves. When it comes to centre-backs that have moved on from Chelsea, Fikayo Tomori was one of my favourites. After that, it was Marc Guehi. Marc Guehi went on loan, done really well. If I'm not mistaken, it was at Swansea. He came back and the timing was wrong. When I tell you the timing was wrong, I mean the timing was absolutely wrong for him to return, because yes, we played with a back three. We were very successful at the time. The player was absolutely craving to get some minutes and some inkling of even bench minutes. However, he never got those assurances. And what ended up happening was he was sold to Crystal Palace. And he went to Crystal Palace, I think it was for £22 million with some add-ons, which without a doubt he's activated. He's been that good for them. He's literally their captain now, age 23, 24, if I'm not mistaken. He is absolutely like a bona fide starter for them, and now has marked his territory to be a leader within the England team and a starter in the past Euros that happened, and more importantly for years to come, especially under Thomas Tuchel. I definitely see this centre half being prevalent in the team. Why? He's strong, he's intelligent, he's a great leader, he's good on the ball, he's composed, he's good in the air. The Some would argue his aerial duels are nowhere near to the elite level. I never said he's elite, I said he's good in the air. I think he's still an imposing centre half. So for me, it makes sense that Chelsea would be looking to bring Marc Guehi back if he's a free agent. However, we need to talk about the fit. Does this make sense? Because you got Levi Colwell on the left-hand side. That's Levi's position. On the right-hand side, you got Wesley Fofana. You've got Alson Mino coming back. You got Toussaint, Badiashile, and Disasi. For me, next year, Disasi will be leaving the club. I think Toussaint might stay because of leadership, but if the right offer comes in, he will be leaving the club. Badiashile is an interesting one. Because Badiashile, just when I give up on him, he does something where I go, you know what, maybe he's got something still. Because I've really rated the player, but then he does stuff that makes me give up on him. And then all of a sudden, we're in a toxic cycle. We're going in a cycle. 1 minute, I think he's sick. Next minute, I think, nah, it's time to go. And I don't know how to make my mind up. So the reality is, what we need to consider if we were going to bring back Marc Guehi is, number one, is he going to be happy competing with Wesley Fofana for that right centre-back spot? And if so, do you think he's better than Wesley Fofana? And secondly, is this just a smart deal because you can't count on Wes to be fit? But the deal will only happen in the summer. Meaning if the deal only happens in the summer, we might have a whole year of sample size proving that Fofana can stay fit. So it's just an interesting conundrum, but it's a good problem to have. As a free agent at the end of next summer, boy, this guy will either be at a cut price this summer or free the year after. So we need to be excited by the idea of this. He's a very good player. He won't cost 80 million. He'll cost somewhere in the range of 40, but very talented player. So before we leave today, there's a little bit more news, and this is regarding Victor Gyokeres. Reports in Portugal saying that Chelsea are ready to pay 90 million euros. And not only are they ready to pay 90 million euros now, they're willing to loan him back and get him next summer. So go get my thoughts on that. Go get on the full story behind that. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Peace out. I'm out. Bye.